Today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show, go to patreon.com/JoshuaVelas and become a $2 backer today and get early access to the new episodes. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, but for now, on to today's episode. You're listening to the Augmented Experience podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Joshua Velas. I'm a student, musician, and a gamer at heart. Join me as I sit down every week to talk about all the latest news in the technology, business, and video game world. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Velas. I am your host, as usual, and obviously, welcome back to the show. Today is obviously a very special episode of the show, really. If I'm being honest with you, I honestly didn't think I'd hit this day, Like, it's weird because, obviously today is episode 100 of the show. So we're doing episode 100. 100 episodes of doing this show. It's crazy to think that I finally gotten to this point. It's weird, to be honest with you. One of my friends joked about it. It's like, many people don't even get past episode 1, bro. And it's crazy to me. But we obviously have been hyping up this episode for a while. It's been one of my more anticipated episodes to do because, again, like I mentioned in last week's episode, this is another episode that's probably going to get me in some hot water and probably piss off a couple people in the process. But I want to do a bit of house cleaning real quick before we actually, proceed with the episode as usual. In terms of house cleaning, thank you guys so much for all the love and support. It really means a lot to me. You guys keep coming back and listening to the episodes and, keep sharing with me how you feel about them. It really means a lot to me. In terms of downloads, as I posted on my social medias, we've already hit over, I think it was like 1433. So yeah, a lot of downloads. And I really appreciate that you guys keep coming back and listening and sharing the episodes and downloading them. It really means a lot to me. Obviously, continue to shout out my Patreon backers for supporting the show, which obviously now the Patreon backers will have more incentive to become backers or stay backers because now they're going to get access to the videos much easier. And it's interesting, to say the least. But that's enough house cleaning. I want to start going into the episode because there's a lot to discuss with this one. So, what is the big topic that I have been alluding to for a while now? And the topic that I'm referring to is PC versus console gaming. And I know what you guys are thinking, like, Josh, oh boy, what do you have to say about this? Because it's a really loaded question, to say the least, but it's also very important. Let me explain. PC versus console gaming is now becoming a more interesting debate now due to the fact that, the new consoles are coming out. Obviously PC hardware is getting much better now. Obviously, with current 3rd gen Ryzen, we're getting 10th gen Intel, obviously Ryzen 4000 is across, basically nearby. Also the 3000 series NVIDIA graphics cards, RDNA 2. But at the same time, the console, I'd say the console space as a whole is also evolving very quickly with the launch of the Xbox Series X and at the same time the PS5. And these consoles are going to be very important, especially because of what they offer. And that's why this discussion becomes much more interesting now because of this change of pace. And I know it's hard to fathom this, but we also have to be very objective in discussing this because there is some difference here. There is a lot of important things going on here. There's a lot of important details that a lot of people seem to discredit regarding the new consoles and at the same time discredit towards PC gaming. And I know right now PC building in general is kind of in a big, debacle right now given the whole AMD situation, which we will talk about soon on the show. But I do want to focus on PC versus console gaming today because of the recent information revealed of the new consoles, recent updates regarding games on the new consoles, and et cetera, et cetera. So the best place to start is, yes, being honest up front, console gaming is more optimized than PC gaming. It is, objectively speaking. I know a lot of people say that wait, that doesn't make much sense. Like, most games are put on PC first anyways, and then they're ported over to console. But you also have to keep in mind that with console gaming, this is something a lot of people don't seem to realize. Console gaming has been able to do a lot with what they were given. I'd say it's kind of the more elaborate way of like an actual engineer, what an engineer would do, to say the least, you know, that you would engineer your way out of a problem, where now you're able to make the best of what you have in front of you, and you're able to get a lot out of it. You also have to keep in mind, when the Xbox One X came out, it was a beast. It was a big change of pace that a lot of people were not expecting from a console. 4K gaming, yes, even though it wasn't true 4K in many senses, you know, there was a lot of checkerboarding and things like that. It was interesting, to say the least, you know, that there was a lot of that stuff going on. And when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, it's weird, you know, it's a change of pace. And yes, a lot of people had issues with it because yes, it wasn't on par with what you would get from a traditional PC that would cost the same amount of money. And yeah, it's true. And even though, yeah, something a lot of people seem to always keep forgetting is that, yeah, they made the best of what they had. They killed it. They basically did what many people weren't able to do in that situation. They made the best of it. And they got the most out of those Jaguar CPUs and graphics cores that obviously weren't the best. Clearly they weren't, but they were able to get a lot of power out of them. Fast forward to the new PlayStation 5 and Series X. There's a big difference in CPUs. Now we're running we're running 3rd gen Ryzen CPUs inside of them, 8 core, 16 threads. That's a big bump in performance, especially for multitasking. You got 16 gigs of RAM. You have RDNA 2 graphics, which some people always keep forgetting that the RDNA 2 is not even out. It's not even out for PCs. It's brand new technology that AMD has put inside of the new consoles. They're basically experimenting with what they're working on. And you also have to keep in mind, these are the console variants. The PC variants are probably going to be monsters. So if the console variants are able to push 4K gaming with no issues and uncompromised 4K gaming, then imagine the PC version. Keep that in mind. Also, the new CPUs definitely help a ton. Granted, they're not going to be exactly like their PC counterparts, but they're still very, very impressive, to say the least. More RAM is very impressive. SSDs are very impressive. And, you know, given the whole price tag, which, like I said, we still don't know, but given the whole circumstances of things, there's good reason to expect that we're going to get a very interesting price tag, to say the least. But how does that compare to PCs? PC gaming right now is at an all-time high. There's a lot of stuff going on. You know, 3rd gen Ryzen is very, very impressive, which I'm a proud owner of a 3900X in my rig. Granted, not a big graphics card to go with it, but that's aside from the point. But it's very impressive nonetheless. It's a very, very powerful CPU that a lot of people like. They love the 3700X for 8 core, 16 threads. People love the 3600 because of overclocking. We're getting the quad core 3100 and the 3300X, which are very impressive based on the reviews for pure gaming perspectives. We're also getting, you know, we also have the 3950X, which is the monster 16 core, 24 thread or 32 thread processor, my bad, the big boy, which is a behemoth. It is an unparalleled behemoth that has no equal. And then Intel obviously continued offering their new 10th gen lineup, which right now is very interesting compared to the 3rd gen Ryzen. So we're seeing how everything plays out currently. And obviously, yes, the 2000 series graphics cards from NVIDIA have been very impressive. Also, AMD has made the 5000 series, which are very popular as well. Now, granted, the driver updates are a little bit wonky still, but the 2000 series NVIDIA cards are very impressive. They're very good. Granted, yes, a little bit overpriced in their categories, but that will change when RDNA 2 comes out, and then AMD continues to push more competition in that space of the high-end GPUs. But I know what you guys are thinking. Console gaming, more optimized. We get it. It is. Now, imagine what happens when you take the optimization that's already done with console gaming, and then you add more horsepower into it, because the graphics power inside of those suckers, we have to be honest with ourselves. I know I was arguing with somebody on Twitter, and I wouldn't call it arguing, but on Twitter it was interesting because there was somebody saying, look, a 60 can get this kind of performance. And I'm like, no, you're factually wrong. You are literally delusional to think a 2060 can do 4K 60 with no issues. It cannot. It's not meant to do that. It's not meant to put, heck, even a 2070 Super is not meant to push that. They are primarily meant, the 2060 specifically, is a 1080p graphics card. Unparalleled 1080p gaming, no issues. If you're just playing 1080p, just get that. Or if you want to dabble a little bit 1440p 60, then get a 2060 Super, which even then a lot of people don't think is the best value. And that's why you get the 2070 Super, which is for 1440p and 1080. It's a monster. It does what you want it to do. If you want 4K 60 with no issues, you bump up to 2080 Super to 2080 Ti. The 2080 Ti is obviously unparalleled, true 4K gaming, no issues. It's also the most expensive graphics card ever made at, well, specifically for consumer use. So, for gaming. It's a super expensive card of like starting at $1,000+. We don't include the Titan because the Titan is not necessarily meant for gaming. It's really meant for more, I'd say, production work, really is what it's more really for. That's why it starts at like $2,500. Well, there's only one version. It's $2,500. But you get what I'm saying. Now, these consoles, they're able to do 4K 60 with no issue. Now, granted, we will also acknowledge the whole thing going on with the Assassin's Creed Valhalla situation that just came out, that the game will be capped at 4K 30. I want to make this very clear because there's a lot of fake news going on about it. This is not a Xbox or Sony issue. It isn't. This is a Ubisoft issue. Ubisoft is known to do this with their games. They just don't want to put in the work to optimize them for the hardware. They don't. They're very lazy in this sense. And they've done this before. Like, it's very evident. They don't want to actually push the hardware to its limits. They don't. Other manufacturers are. Cyberpunk, as we've already established, Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be running at 4K 60 on the Xbox Series X. Confirmed. Dirt, the new Dirt game, 4K 60. Confirmed. Other games that are going to be 4K enabled right off the bat, confirmed. Like, obviously the new Halo is going to run 4K 60. No issues. Gears of War 5, they got it running at 4K 60 with no issues in a month. We also have ray tracing Minecraft. They got it running in a month. One guy got it running. You get what I'm saying? Is console gaming is a very interesting spot, or I'd say an interesting spot, to be honest, because it's more optimized. The developers are able to put in more time to optimize these things to make games run better. They take advantage of everything they have and push it to the absolute limit. With PC gaming, this becomes a much different story because you're dealing with much different parts the entire time. You're dealing with different circumstances. And that's what a lot of people seem to forget is with PC gaming, you're allowed to make whatever you want, but you'll get varying results. With console gaming, everyone has the same parts, everyone's getting the same performance, and then you go from there. It's much more accessible. And I know a lot of people saying that PC gaming has become more accessible, over time. But you also have to keep in mind that even though, yes, it is more accessible, it is, but it's still not as optimized. Prime example, Red Dead Redemption 2. What happened when Red Dead Redemption 2 came out? It was poorly optimized. What happened to Batman Arkham Knight when it came out? Terrible mess. What happened? Like, you got what I mean? Like, we're not going to ignore this. This is what happens when you have bias, is that you ignore these details. Like Red Dead Redemption 2, when it came out on PC, was abysmal. It was garbage. It could barely run 4K, even on high PCs. Like, it was hard to run. On consoles, the Xbox Series X or Xbox One X ran it at 4K 30, perfectly fine, no issues, no drop frames. Digital Foundry showed the results, and it's the same game. Like, granted, then you take examples like PUBG, where the game, it's kind of buggy sometimes and not the best optimized game. It's, the joke. It's a great game, but they don't optimize it that well. Granted, some people said things are different, but we have to test it out later. But you get what I'm getting at, guys? Like, PC gaming, I love PC gaming. I don't have an Xbox anymore because I mostly play on my PC more now. Like, to be honest, I'm being honest with you guys, like, I have an Elite Series 2 controller. This little bad boy right here that I have, that I love this controller so much. I hope you guys realize I love this controller. It's one of my favorite controllers that I own. And yes, it's expensive, bugger. It is. It's pretty expensive, but it's my favorite controller. And I use it on my PC because there's some games on PC that I just don't really see make sense to run with keyboard and mouse, like Halo. Halo, to me, doesn't make sense on keyboard and mouse. It really doesn't, especially with the vehicle controls and everything. It really doesn't. It's weird. It's funky. That's why when we're playing Halo, I'm always using that controller, and my friends are like, yeah, you drive because you have the easier controls. You know, games like Rocket League, controller makes more sense. Playing racing games makes more sense. You know, when I'm playing a story game, I'd rather use a controller than use my keyboard and mouse because I'd rather enjoy that experience. And there's a lot of things. Yeah, there's pros and cons to using controller for competitive FPSs. We're not going to lie about that. There is. But there's also differences. Like I said, there's a varying situation. That's why the whole debate of PC versus console gaming is not a sense of this is better than this. It's just, what do you prefer? What are you mostly doing? And I know a lot of people say, yes, it makes more sense to build a PC. It does, because you get more out of it. It's a PC. You also have to keep in mind, you're comparing it to a console. What is a console's innate primary function? It's gaming. It's entertainment. It's what it's for. A PC's primary directive is not just meant for gaming. It's meant to do work, gaming, streaming, etc. It's meant to do more. That's why you spend more to get more out of it. A console has a set price, but it also has the power to play the games the way you want them to run, you know? And a lot of people seem to always forget this. Digital Foundry was making this very clear in their video when they talked about the Series X, that it's a very big jump in performance. Like, this is something that was not expected out of console gaming for a long time, because it just was behind. And if the rumors are true that this console is going to be priced around $500, and the main reason we're saying this is because they are reducing the price of the Xbox One X to 300 something. If it is true that the Xbox Series X starts at $500, you cannot build any PC even close to it for that price. Used parts or not, it is physically impossible to build something similar or equivalent for $500. It is impossible. And I know some people are going to say, oh, you also have to take into account like adding, you know, price for, you know, Xbox Live for say 5 years or something like that. It still wouldn't. It'd be like $800. Guys, this is a big jump, and this is a big win for the consumer because you're getting more options. You're giving console gamers what they wanted. They wanted more power and to do what they want. Most people that say just build a PC for gaming don't realize a lot of people don't want to game on a computer. They have a computer for work and they have their console for gaming. They keep them separate. It's a specific task. They don't want one machine to do everything. They don't. There's people that like having individual things to do individual tasks. That's normal. That's functional. Like, I do it. Like, I do it a lot. If I'm being honest with you, like, I do that a lot. Granted, yes, my PC is able to do everything, but that's because I decided to make it do everything. Like, I still have my iPad to do all my schoolwork and also my computer to do the things that I can't do on my iPad. But my iPad is very powerful. I can do video editing on it the same level as on my PC with no issue. I can do all my editing on my iPad as well, all my video editing and stuff like that. I'm able to, you know, do audio recordings on my iPad. I haven't tried it yet with, you know, my current setup, but, you know, we'll probably give it a go eventually. But I'm able to do a lot of work, and I always make my tasks very specific. I make sure that when I get something, it's able to do the task that I want it to do. And it's something that a lot of people seem to forget when they're talking about PC versus console gaming. There's people that buy consoles because they don't want to deal with the drawbacks of PC, because there are drawbacks to it. Yes, you have to know what you're doing. It's much more difficult to get support for it. It really is, if you think about it, because you have to go through the manufacturers, you know, you have to do this, you got to know what you're doing inside of Windows, and it becomes much more difficult. With consoles, you deal with one manufacturer. They're the ones that are responsible for everything inside of it. And then if something goes wrong, you can go to a store, which in Dallas, we have the Microsoft store. So if something goes wrong, you put in a repair request, you go to the Microsoft store, and they give you a new console if something goes wrong, if it's still in warranty. And if you have warranty, you just go there and they'll give you a new one. You get what I'm saying? Or the store you bought it from, you have warranty, you can just get a new one. It's much simpler than with a PC, because a PC, you know, then you got to go to the store, you got to say motherboard goes bad, Then you got to go to the store you bought that motherboard, get a new motherboard if you have warranty, or in the return days, then you got to go back in, you got to reinstall Windows on that motherboard, and say processor, same thing, something goes bad, you got to go in, plug it in, do all this, do this, say graphics card. Okay, graphics cards are a little bit easier to work with because that's just plug and go, unless if you have to do with drivers, then ugh. But you get what I'm saying? Like, there's a much more factors into it that a lot of people seem to always forget, that people that just want to play games, they don't want to deal with that. They don't. And with the new consoles coming, yes, it's cool that they're going to have a lot more power under the hood. A lot of people have been waiting for this. A lot of people have been wanting consoles to have equivalent hardware to high-end PCs. And I know that sounds weird to say, but yes, it is true. These things are pumping 2080 Ti to 2080 Super to 2080 Ti performance for a margin of the cost. Like, a 2080 Super and 2080 Ti are very expensive graphics cards. I honestly think they're overpriced, and a lot of people believe this way. It's super overpriced. Like, the 2080 or the 1080 Ti was priced at the same price range as the 2080 Super. The 2080 Ti is way, way above that. You get what I'm saying, guys? Like, this is a good thing. It helps people, or really it just helps consumers in the long run. If you think about it, it really does help consumers. The only ones who really win in this situation is the consumer. The consumer wins because think about it. If these consoles are pushing 2080 Ti level performance for $500 or less, Nvidia is going to have to respond and make these graphics cards much more inexpensive because, yes, a lot of people have been saying this. Nvidia went crazy with the pricing this time around with the 2000 series. They made them way overpriced. Like, the original, like 2060, 2070, and 2080 were horrible value when they came out. And then they made the super versions, where now they were priced and giving the performance they should have been giving from day one. Like, the 2060 Super is basically a 2070. The 2070 Super is basically a 2080, and the 2080 Super is just, it's just there. Like, it's the most bad value one out of all of them, if we're being honest. It really is. And the 2080 Ti is obviously the big boy. It's unparalleled gaming. That's what it is. It's meant to do 4K big game. It's meant to do big gaming. That's what it's for, you know? But I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. PC versus console gaming is not a debate of this is better or this is better. No, it's a debate of what makes more sense for you. Are you somebody that just focuses on gaming and that's it? Then just get a console. You'll get the exact same games. Sure, there's some games you might not get. If you can live with that, cool. If you can't, then you could just build a PC. Granted, you're not going to get the same performance unless you spend more money, but you get what I'm saying. Like, console gaming exists for a reason. And think about it. A lot of PC games that are only on PC are coming to console now. League of Legends already announced that they're making League for consoles. I know that sounds crazy to think about, but it made sense with the new consoles introducing more horsepower, even though, yes, you can run League on a crap top. It makes more sense that now they're able to, because now with the new consoles having better CPUs, they're able to stream at the same time. And they're able to, like, they have them natively built in. Like, Microsoft has the relationship with Mixer. They're able to stream with no issue. You're able to start streaming immediately. They added the media key on the controller so that you're able to stream much more efficiently. They're trying to make this an all-in-one solution for gamers who just want to game and stream, and that's it. PC gaming, yes, you're able to stream and everything, but you got to go through a lot of hoops to do it. You got to get a camera, like I have right now. You got to get a camera. You got to get microphones. You got to get the software for it. You have to know how to use that software. You got to get a switcher if you want to use a switcher. And you got what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot more to it that a lot of people don't seem to get. And that's okay. It's cool. Everybody has, but it just comes down to what do you want to do? You know? What do you want? And that's where I think is the best place to leave it. Because, like I said, the only people that win in these kind of discussions are the consumers. When console gaming succeeds, PC gaming succeeds because prices go down, because now the manufacturers are realizing we can't get away with what we normally got away with because there's better value other places, you know? Keep in mind, as I mentioned, these are running the new consoles are running RDNA 2. These are not out on PC. These are graphics cards exclusive to consoles for now. And then when they come to PC, they're going to be juggernauts because now they're not going to be limited the same way that they are in consoles. But in consoles, they're great. because they get the performance that you can't get anywhere else. And I hope you guys understand that, because it's true. This is interesting. This is awesome that we're going to get this level of performance on consoles for the first time, that now it's actually becoming a much more viable option to PC gaming for a much less entry cost, which a lot of people seem to always ignore. The entry cost is very important because especially in these times, entry cost is key. And if these consoles, yes, if they are priced around $500, $400 to $500 for 2080 Ti level performance, high-end gaming PC performance, yes, they will sell like hotcakes. This will push the PC manufacturers to start realizing, hey, maybe we can't get away with pricing things the way we normally did, And it's going to start pushing the industry forward, and it's going to lead to healthy buying practices, and it's going to benefit the consumer as a whole. Like, granted, the whole Xbox Live debate and PS Live stuff, like, guys, come on. Like, at the rate we're going, think about it like this. Say you spend $300 on Xbox Live for 5 years. That's $60 a year. And the console's say the Xbox Series X is $500. 300 plus 500, that's $800 in the course of 5 years. And by then, you're already going to upgrade consoles anyways, or you're going to keep it. And then by the time that happens, a high-end gaming PC is not getting cheaper. In theory, if this all goes according to plan, then yes, they will get cheaper. But you're getting a lot of value up front. You're getting a lot of value. And I encourage people, look, if you're just wanting to game and you want a console, these new consoles should have you excited. The games are going to run great on them. They're going to look amazing. They're going to run buttery smooth. And for competitive as well, they're going to get high frame rates as well, because that's what they have. They have built-in high frame rates. And that's going to be interesting. It's going to be nice. It's going to be a change of pace, and it's going to push the industry forward and lead to much healthier things, which, I'm being honest with you guys, I'm excited. I really am. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. It's the first episode using the camera, which, well, it's not really the first. We did the video doing the updates, but this is the first official episode using the camera. And I'm loving it. I hope you guys enjoy it as well, because, the results are very impressive, But again, thank you guys for all the love and support. Thank you for all the love for 100 episodes of doing this show. It really means a lot to me. You guys are awesome. Please continue to be safe out there. I know times are weird right now, given the whole situation, but continue to be safe, continue to take care of others, be respectful of others, don't do anything dumb. Please continue to be safe, guys. I love you guys to death. Please be safe. Please be safe. Take care of others. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys. Hey there. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and listening to today's episode. If you're interested in supporting the show, whether it be financially, clicking the follow button, or just sharing the episode, it all works for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I love you guys to death.